What is going on, everybody? Welcome in. We're so excited to have you back. I appreciate you guys' patience. UFC Vegas 93 last week. Maddie and I got together on Thursday, and for about 5 different reasons, it wasn't going to come together for us. So I appreciate you guys being lenient with the week off. Lord knows, of course, I have my best betting card, one of the best betting cards of 2024. That's how irony works. And now, as for this one, UFC Saudi Arabia, Maddie, 11 days ago, we had 12 fights scheduled on this card. We have had a fight change 5 different times in those 11 days. We're averaging one every other day. It's kind of a dumpster fire as far as the scheduling logistics, but we still got some really good fights on this card. So excited to be here with you. And I got to ask you my question that I always ask the man, the myth, the long shot legend, Matty Tanner. How you doing today, buddy?
Doing great, bro. We're at the Hard Rock right now. I'm in the suite. It's 6 set up here tomorrow for bare knuckle boxing. Yeah. And I'm ready for a good weekend, bro. I got some picks I like in the bare knuckle card tomorrow, and then Saturday, solid UFC card overall. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on the main event.
Yeah, me too.
I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, me too. We got main card fights coming on. And just a reminder, if you did not listen, Maddie had the Commissioner Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Remind me of his name again, Maddie.
Yeah, David Feldman.
David Feldman was on Show Me the Money with Maddie, Renato Moicano, all the boys there on that show. Great podcast. He was just telling me a story that I'm going to have to go listen to myself. So do that as well on the Home of Fight channel here. Appreciate you guys joining us. If you join us on the Home of Fight Discord, my picks, Maddie's picks, as well as Hey Jive, Clint McLean, a lot of good dudes going down content there. Of course, we have Clint's podcast, Die Hard MMA. So a lot of good MMA preview stuff at Home of Fight, and we appreciate your support as always. But why don't we dive in here? Don't have a recap of last week's show, of course. So 11 fights on this card as we stand right now. The first of them is to my left or right, depending on which side of the mirroring you've got here on a stream here. Zhao Wong taking on Chang Ho Lee. This is actually the Road to UFC Bantamweight finale. Apologies about we had some data transfer errors. Like I guess we had the upload on the graphic wrong or something like that. But this is a Bantamweight Road to UFC finale. Interesting that these kind of fights are going to be coming on. We'll have Rong Zhu back in a lightweight fight coming up here recently as well. So this series concluding. Maddie, I did not know very much about either of these guys to start the week, but I did have a side that I kind of felt like I wanted to pick to win. Not the most confident betting spot in the world. I'm wondering if one of these guys knocked your socks off looking at tape this week.
What's your side?
I lean definitely Chang Ho Lee. It's basically a pick 'em, so you're pretty much just picking a win here. It's interesting you might be on the same side. I looked at these two's results on the road to UFC. Zhao Long, 2 decision wins on there. Chang Ho Lee, much more vicious inside the distance as well. Kind of an offense versus defense story. Like Chang Ho Lee, 69% striking accuracy, over 4 takedowns per 15 minutes. Like the dude was busy in the octagon, whereas Zhao Long much more measured. He actually has significantly more pro wins. He's got over 30 pro fights, whereas Chang Ho Lee's just 9-1 from Korea, even though he's older. He's been training MMA though 1 year longer than Zhao Long. So one of those things where I feel like the Chinese regional scene sometimes can have a lot of volume, not a lot of substance. And that feels a little bit why Zhao Long is the favorite here, because he's got more pro fights, got more pro wins, got more pro finishes. I feel like Chang Ho Lee's are a little bit more quality. And of course, on the periphery of training with Korean Zombie as well, that's never a bad thing. So I kind of like Chang Ho Lee in this first one.
I like him too. I actually think I thought he would be the small favorite in this spot. I mean, if you look at Long, Long's effective on the feet. I think he's like over 5 significant strikes per minute. Yep. He has a 25% takedown defense, which I don't know if you looked at that at all or even care about that number in that type of sample size in this matchup. But I thought he would have been a small. I just thought the number would be flip flopped here. Yeah. Like right now on FanDuel, it's Long is at -114.
Yeah.
So it's tightening a little bit here.
It's really tightened all week. Like Chang Ho was available for plus coin like Monday and Tuesday or so, and that's starting to inch down his way. I think a pick is a decent representation because I always am nervous about these road to UFC fights because the data, you have to be careful with it because you don't really know who it's coming against. So like we saw that with Jack Kasaragi last week, by the way. Jack Kasaragi destroyed road to UFC, but he can't grapple. So that's a little bit of an issue. It could be one of the paths to failure for these guys. Again, not a huge not a huge go spot, but like I think it's dog or pass, and I got Chang Ho Lee at plus 100 before the line moved, because so now I could cash it out if I wanted to, but I think I might just stick on it for a unit just because I do feel like he should be favored.
Yeah, I like it. And do you like an outcome here, or maybe a decision?
It's tough. I feel like if you like Chang Ho Lee, he's he's live for ground and pound. I think he's also live for a submission as well. So I might not lean a particular method, but I think I would lean inside the distance. He's incredibly aggressive, and with that could potentially come gas tank shortage issues if prolonged. So maybe an inside the distance dart might be better than even the money line straight up at this point.
His subs 11-1 on FanDuel.
Really?
So he has 2 submission wins.
Yeah.
In his 10 MMA fights.
Yeah.
But like you said, the ground and pound, 3 straight ground and pounds.
Yeah.
I do think you're onto something with just the double chance here, going inside the distance.
Yeah.
Which you're looking at, what here, plus 340.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? His double chance is shorter than the favorite's double chance.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. I think Zhao Long by points is probably the most likely individual outcome of the fight, because you're just unsure. But you and I love targeting those subs, man. When you get a few ground and pounds in a row, it's like, gosh, I'm trying to think right now. Like Marcin Tybura was a good example against Tai Tuivasa. Like he had a couple of ground and pound KOs with UFC, ended up getting the sub against Tuivasa. So like that's a little bit of a system we've gone to in the past. Could be an interesting dart at 11-1.
Yeah, I agree. I think the finish will probably make my card on this one.
Cool. I'm all with it. Hey, we're all for first fight of the card action. Otherwise, what am I doing here? I'll tune in a half hour later if I don't have action on the first fight of the card. I'm kidding, of course, responsible gaming and all that stuff. But we'll move on here to the next fight up on the card, which looks like it's going to be Magomed Gadzhiyasulov. I knew I was going to butcher that. Taking on Brenson Ribeiro in a light heavyweight matchup of guys who are on the Contender Series last year. Maddie and I both got cost a lot of coin by Ribeiro. I like the favorite in that one. I think Bruno Lopez was the favorite in that fight. Ended up seeing him against Bing Zhang Yang earlier this year. That did not go his way. Knockout in less than 2 minutes. UFC debut here for Gadzhiyasulov. Gadzhiyasulov minus 365. I've actually got minus 325, so it's shortened a bit, but pretty prohibitive favorite. What are you thinking in this spot here, bud?
Yeah, Ribeiro has some heavy hands.
Yeah.
A big dog here. Well, plus 250 is now the number. What's he coming off that nice round 1 KO, right?
So he lost in the first round to Zhang Mingyang, and then on the Contender Series, he got the first round knockout of Bruno Lopez.
Yeah. His KO props plus 460 here.
That's interesting. What's round 1? Because, like, obviously, I think the round 1 bonk is an incredibly likely outcome if you're betting the Ribeiro side. Like that's what you're kind of making.
Plus 850 round 1.
Yeah. That almost feels to me like when they offered Tuivasa at like plus 400 something for a round 1 KO and something didn't smell right. I kind of like Gadzhiyasulov here. I know it's kind of boring, but I feel like he underwhelmed a little in the Contender Series. He went the distance, 6 takedowns in that fight. Like he was in control of it, but like when you're on the Contender Series, you're trying to get a finish. You're trying to be impressive for a contract. Wasn't exactly that. He was just this super hyper efficient. Another one of these Khabib guys from Dagestan that comes in incredibly efficient, mixes his elements well. I feel like Ribeiro is like a defensive loose cannon. Like it doesn't feel like he wants to play a lot of defense. And
he's literally kill or be killed. That's it.
Yeah. That's kind of what it feels like to me, which like that guy's kind of appealing at plus 260. I don't hate the argument for Ribeiro in this side. I just think a majority of the time Gadzhiyasulov gets it done. I had him parlayed, which has since been foiled by a canceled fight, but I do like him to win here. I am a little unsure of the outcome. I think Ribeiro's tendencies could actually provide decent value on his inside the distance prop because his opponent on the Contender Series wasn't really willing to take chances. Ribeiro, all he does is take chances. Whereas, I mean, I'm looking double chance. I'm guessing, Gadzhiyasulov's minus 240 to win inside the distance, which is like a huge red flag when he went the distance on the Contender Series. Like, I don't know. At that point, do we pivot to points given how patient he was?
Do you understand? You can get a minus 360 favorite to win by decision at plus 750. What the fuck? Have you ever seen anything like that?
No. I think a little bit of that is Ribeiro.
Right. And I think all of that is Ribeiro. But that's crazy just to think, like, you get an almost 4-1 favorite at almost 8-1 to just win a 15-minute decision.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm looking at this board. Honestly, the most attractive bet to me looks like Gadzhiyasulov by submission is plus 450. I think if you're Gadzhiyasulov and I was his coach coming into this fight, I would say that you do not want to stand and trade with this guy. I think you want to get him down on the ground as soon as possible. He's got a few like ground and pound losses already. So I you know, Gadzhiyasulov, I assume that he's a decent submission guy. We didn't see one in the Contender Series, but he's got a couple pro wins via sub.
He's 1 pro win out of 8 via sub, 3 decision, I think it is, and 4 KOs. But just looking at the number, you're like, damn, this guy's won 3 of his 8 fights by decision, and I get him at plus 750.
Yeah,
I think my gut tells me you just take the KO here. It's ugly. It's minus 120.
Yeah,
but I just think he's going to get him to the ground and get him full mount and ground and pound.
Yeah,
I think that's how the fight plays out.
Yeah,
especially when you're looking at some of his recent wins is literally ground and pound. And then Ribeiro, some of his recent losses is what, losing by ground and pound, right? Well,
yes.
Or punches. 2, yeah.
Ming Yang was on the feet. Let me dive in further back because it kind of he went on this big winning streak up until he got to the Contender Series.
Yeah. His last 3 losses were just punches, KO and punches.
Yeah. I think it was the Barkudarian fight that was the ground and pound. I watched the Vygotsky fight, which was a decision loss, and did struggle with takedown defense in that fight, but that was kind of a while ago. But it's kind of hard to get footage on a guy that is going in there and deciding his fights within 4 minutes, looking for improvement.
I will say, I know the Contender Series was underwhelming, but his opponent, I don't think he's been finished once out of 14 fights. He's very durable, right? Never been knocked out. Only been subbed once was his only finished loss out of 14 fights. So I think the KO prop here. I know the sub looks attractive at plus 450, but I just feel like the KO is going to hit.
I think you're right, Matty. I weirdly he took Jose Medina off the Contender Series after that loss. I'm pretty sure. Like he admired his heart in the loss and gave Medina a contract to Gadzhiyasulov, which kind of makes you wonder what he thinks of the favorite here. I think you might be right. I think the disgusting KO chalk might be the play rather than try to get cute there. I got some clarity.
I might whip up like a KO parlay and just have a chalky one in there, and then maybe a couple of nice plus money ones.
Yeah. That might be a decent chalky one, but we'll move forth. Not a huge verdict in that one. Hoping I can convince Maddie of a verdict in this next one here. Muin Gafarov taking on Kyung Ho Kang. A couple of guys we've seen a little bit here in this bantamweight division. Kang coming off a loss to John Castaneda, got taken down a few times. Decently close fight. Muin Gafarov ended up getting submitted by our guy Said Nurmagomedov within a couple of minutes. So both of them looking for a bounce back spot here. Curious what you're thinking in this fight. Not quite model eligible, but I did have a side that stood out. I haven't actually bet it yet. I'm waiting for the number, but curious what you're thinking here.
Bro, when I was talking to Moicano the other day,
he
was like, Mr. Perfect. What's he? What's his ethnicity?
He's Korean. He's
Korean,
from South Korea.
Yeah. He's like, dude, this Korean dude. I couldn't figure out who he's talking about. And he's like, I talked about this Korean dude on my YouTube channel. He's like, he has unbelievable submissions, but he's like, the motherfucker never gets takedowns. Yep. I was like, who are you talking about? I was like, I know it's not the Korean Zombie. And I was like, who are you talking about? And then it hit me, and I was like, oh, okay, it's Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
And this is a good fight. I think Gafarov's pretty good. Like just generally speaking, I was pretty high on him overall. I think the numbers are about right here. I don't really like Mr. Perfect's last loss. Who was it again?
Castaneda took him down 3 times. Was able to get a decision. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that fight live, and I just wasn't impressed with his performance there. Now and then if you look at like his wins before that, like that the Bakari guy has good power, but that's it. He's just got like a right hand.
Yep.
So I just look at his resume, and it's like when you look at who he's beat, like what names really impresses you? He has a win over Guido Canetti. It's a triangle choke back in 2018.
Yeah.
But like, do any of these wins really scream high level or even decent guys to you.
I mean, I think Quinones is okay. You know,
Yeah.
he was able to drop and submit him. I thought Quinones was all right. Like, yeah, the thing is, he had that military service tour in South Korea, and he goes out of UFC for a while. Not a
Right.
lot of relevant wins on his resume. I think you're right. I think he looked a little old in his last fight. If I got Kyung Ho Kang of a couple of years ago, I'd really love him here
Yeah.
against Gafarov. I still like him, especially as this number has come up. I think Moicano's exactly right. I love his submission game against Gafarov. He's 6-1 here. Gafarov stuck his neck out there, had it snatched by Saeed in his last fight. He was dropped by Castaneda. Gafarov was. I'm kind of a different opinion. I don't think he is very good. He loses to Anheliger on the Contender Series. Not plus efficiency in the striking category, 41% accuracy, 48% defense. I don't think minus 174 Gafarov is a good idea by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's Kang or pass, and I'm really intrigued by his submission angle. So I was very intrigued to hear that Moicano really likes his submission game. That's a good source for that.
Yeah, I just don't know that the fight hits the ground. That's what I'm concerned about if you're backing him.
So here, how about this? Gafarov attempts, let's see if I could do quick math. Gafarov attempts 9.4 takedowns per 15 minutes. So he is very active trying to get to the fight to the ground.
Right, but in this matchup, does he even go that route, right? Because like if you look at this guy's 10 knockouts to 0 knockout losses, right? And he might just stand in this matchup, and that's what concerns me.
Yeah.
And like how durable Mr. Perfect as far as, you know, KOs, he has 2 wins by knockout, 1 loss. Who was the one loss to it was a long time ago, I think.
Yeah.
He hasn't been knocked out in quite some time, you know. I just think this fight's going to play out on the feet, and I think it hits the cards. And I think, and then, you know, what is interesting, though, is, and I was just looking at this, I think Gafarov is like, let's see, when it hits the cards, he's 1 for 6.
Yeah.
1 wins, 5 losses. I mean, let's take a look here at the decision prop.
Well, how about I throw this at you then? Kang never finished in UFC, so Gafarov would be the first. Like the thing, I feel like Kyung Ho is very durable. That's like one of the signature traits to me.
And he probably has more finishing equity just with the submissions.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm starting to sell me. I think, I mean, you get Kang by points at plus 270. I don't think that call. Or you could go double chance here and go sub decision. I think that can make a ton of sense. I don't think he has KO equity in this matchup. Do you?
Yeah.
Gafarov's never been knocked out.
Kind of scary that Kang is plus 140. I see him as the more efficient guy everywhere, but Gafarov is taking on steam in Saudi Arabia, which is a thing to consider from Tajikistan, local guy. I don't trust necessarily Saudi commissions, so it is something to note that maybe I do stay away from the money line, which I haven't bet yet just because it keeps going up, and I might just go in lieu like a round 2-3 sub setup in case he snatches it. But if not, I could see Gafarov squeaking by like with a split in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. It's gonna be, I think it's hitting the cards. What's the fight to hit the distance?
Yeah, it could be a decent parlay.
Minus 155. That seems really, really, really good number for that, in my opinion.
I'll go out on a limb. I don't think Gafarov's finishing Kyung Ho. I think that, I think Castaneda might have been a little bit harder hitter. I don't think he's finishing him. But
155 is a great number. I was expecting like 250 plus.
Me too. I was expecting minus 210. That was the number I had in my head of what I was expecting. So a little shorter than that.
I like that number. Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's move on to just because I can't wait to talk about this fight with you. I have a 10-unit parlay throughout the summer, just kind of like a fun 3-step parlay that I placed a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. One of them is here with a guy that Maddie's been very high on, Rinat Fakhretdinov, taking on Nicholas Dalby here. Dalby coming off that huge win over Gabriel Bonfim, where Bonfim kind of gassed out. Dalby was the parlay smasher that night, as well as Fakhretdinov, same night in Sao Paulo, goes to a decision with Elijah Zaleski dos Santos. We have some gambling stories to tell from that one as well. So these guys were in Sao Paulo together that night. They meet again in Saudi Arabia. Fakhretdinov minus 360 favorite now at this point. That's not what I got him at, but Maddie, if you are interested in Dalby, why don't you tell the people why? Because I think they'd be interested to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, bro, I'm still stunned to this day that Dalby in the Bonfim fight, what he did, bro, is unbelievable. He weathered the storm,
Yep.
and then just the dude's durable as hell, and he just weaponizes his durability and his cardio, and like this is the one fight though. I think if anyone's gonna finish Dalby, this is maybe the opportunity to do it. But this fight to go the distance is like I'm pretty sure it's heavily favored, and I think Fakhretdinov by decision here, I would imagine is the most likely outcome. Let me see.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's at even money. So you can turn that 3 or 4 to 1 favorite to even money if you just believe he's going to be. I think he's just going to come out and get takedowns right away and just be relentless with it. And I think he just has to win the first 2 rounds, and then you're going to be clenching your cheeks in that 3rd round for sure.
Yeah.
But I think he wins the first 2 rounds. And by the way, everyone in the chat, I'm on my iPad. I just figured out how to see comments now, so I can see the comments and everything.
Sick.
I can read it now, but yeah, I think I like, I've been very high on Rinat Fakhretdinov. Like, I think he's the real deal. The last fight was a little concerning, right? But I think it's kind of one of those things where it happened, and I think he can kind of build upon it now. But Nicholas Dalby's definitely not a guy to be slept on, especially at plus 260 here.
Yeah.
So, but Rinat's the real deal, bro. I think he's legit. I mean, that round 1 finish on Kevin Lee was pretty tough.
Yeah.
That was sick. The guy comes out to hurt you, Yeah. And that's why this is like a really cool matchup, because you can't really get Dalby out of there like that. So it'd be interesting to see if he comes out and he has a more calculated approach, or if that's just who he is and he's just going to go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, though, that I don't know if Fakhretdinov's gas tank is bad. The dude went 15 hard with Brian Battle. And by the way, that win has aged like fine wine. The better and better Battle's gotten here at 170. And I think it's his best win. I value it a little higher than the Kevin Lee one. But I don't think Dalby has a chance in this one. And I said that against Bonfim, where the gas tank did expire, but Dalby just a 60% takedown defense. We've seen it controlled at times. Interesting record for Dalby, where all of his wins and losses on the record by decision. He had the knockout loss to Jesse Ronson. It was actually wiped off his resume due to a drug test. So he is a notorious guy to go the distance here, but he's getting a little bit older. He's 39. I know USADA is kind of a thing of the past, but I'm with you. I think Rinat has big time power. That's one thing I loved about him in this matchup. And Dalby has just kind of been able to put a pace on some older guys, get squeak by them, ended up losing to Tim Means, but was able to get past Warley Alves, had the gas tank failure. But I was actually able to model this fight because of Fakhretdinov sample. I've got him at minus 225, which isn't quite money line value here anymore. That's basically what I got when I laid him in my 10-unit megalodon, if you will. But I think at worst he can come out and get takedowns. I've got Rinat. Let's see what I've got him inside the distance, 32.12%. So I've got him plus 210 inside the distance. He's plus 195. So I don't see a ton of value on an individual prop or method at this stage, but I think he's a pretty comfortable win pick.
I'll tell you one thing. The one prop that stands out to me, he's had 25 fights. He's won 7 by submission.
Yep.
We know Dalby has crazy durability.
Yeah.
But Rinat's going to be able to get this fight to the ground a ton of times and have a lot of opportunities to get a sub.
Yep.
And he's grappling, He just lost to Craig Jones via triangle choke. Did you see that?
I did.
So he's like grappling. He's, I do believe that sub prop's going to just be a little bit undervalued here, just because the amount of opportunities I feel like he's going to have taking this fight to the ground, maybe like a guillotine or like, just some sort of choke. He has, the Kevin Lee was more of a knockout. I get it. It ended up being a guillotine. But he gets lots of chokes, man.
Yeah.
Rear neck choke, round 2 choke, round 1 choke. He snatches up these chokes pretty well, So it's just a matter of what your preference is. Do you want to take him decision at even money?
You're a genius. I'm looking at Nicholas Dalby's resume. The dude hasn't been fighting hard. He did give up a submission attempt to Bonfim before he gasped, but Muslim Salikos, Worley Alves in a striking match, the corpse of Claudio Silva, Tim Means, Daniel Rodriguez. These are not dudes that are going to take him down and snatch his neck like Renat is.
Yeah.
I think you're.
I think you go round 1-2 sub here.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at that because I feel like those numbers are going to be good.
Yeah. We got a comment, by the way. Jesse Ronson did sub Dalby. That was my mistake. He had a knockdown. He subbed Dalby in that fight. So, to Maddie's point, he should have a submission loss on his record, if not for a drug test. But that was a weird fight.
Oh, dude, that's a great call by the chat. Bro, look at these numbers, bro. This is gonna be fuck the sprinkle. I'm going at least a half unit per round here.
Wow. I see
round 1 sub 11-1, round 2 sub 16-1. How do you not play this? How do you not play this?
I agree with you because then in the third round you're with Deepwater Dalby and it might be a little bit scary. The waters might be a little bit rocky. So I'm totally with you. Yeah. Huge credit on the Ronson thing. I remember the fight well because it was just after the COVID break that he got dropped. I had a Dalby in a parlay, and I'm like, are you kidding? You got dropped by this Canadian dude who's a lightweight, and that's the story of Nicholas Dalby to me. I've really tried to be forgiving about him, but I just feel like he's a point fighter, getting a little bit older, tries to outpace guys, but Renat's a mom. I feel like Renat. Here's what I have written down. Renat 47 significant strikes in the first round against Elijah Zaleski dos Santos after he dropped him. I think he was empty in the tank trying to get the finish and then came up short, gassed at the end because he didn't have anything left. I generally feel like Renat manages his energy okay. So, Maddie, I think we found one. I'm definitely going to add that to my card as well.
That's you know damn well that's going to be in our long shot lay there.
I like that a lot. But
I feel really fucking good about that. Like really good.
Yeah, I like that one a lot too. So we'll move forward here. Next fight on the card, a new one, relatively new one anyway. A few days' notice. Mohamed Naimov taking on Felipe Lima. This will be at 145. Lima a natural bantamweight, but he's stepping in for Melsik Bagdasaryan. Bagdasaryan Naimov was going to be a really good fight. And unfortunately, Melsik had the shoulder injury, had to pull out. But now in steps Lima. I guess a little bit of a darling. Live odds on FanDuel in this one, minus 114. He is favored over Naimov at minus 106. Really? Maddie, I got to clear the floor for you because that is so interesting to me. I had a very strong verdict about this matchup, and now I'm starting to question it a little bit. I'm getting Miktebek oral by flashbacks here, but I'll give another comp when I'm talking. What do you think about that? Naimov as a slight pick'em dog here.
Yeah. I need to look at this fight a little more after hearing that. That's crazy. What are we missing?
Well, the thing to me is like Lima, I think pound for pound, he might be the better fighter here, but this is not only on short notice for him. He was going to fight in July in Octagon MMA. He's up in weight. He's more of a grappler. He's more of a wrestler. Naimov's just a bigger, stronger dude, and we saw him outpace Nathaniel Wood. Like, I've never been super high on Muhammad, but I respect the heck out of that Nathaniel Wood win. Some people will say cup shots, advantageous fouls, whatever. He was in the fight long enough to compete, to have a chance to win it on the cards, which is close enough for government work against a guy like Wood for me. I feel like Naimov is just going to be bigger in this matchup, and it's going to make a big difference coming in. The comp for this fight that I had is not the oral by one. I think back to when Vinicius Oliveira fought Bernardo Sopai. People fell in love with Sopai's skills, but they forgot about Oliveira's size and gas tank advantage. I feel like Naimov is the more well-trained fight here. Lima, we might have to take a hard look at in his next fight at bantamweight, but I think this is too much too soon. And now you're going to give me a dog price on Naimov. I'm going to have to jump ship, and I'm going to have to take the UFC vet here.
Yeah, Lima trains with he's one of Hamzat's teammates, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't have much of a take on this fight. I want to look into it a little bit more, but let me look at this fight to go the distance. Plus or minus 166 to go the distance, plus 130 not to. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's the wrong fight.
So Elijah actually puts a good point in chat. Fun fact: fight is favored to go over rounds, but not
Yeah,
the distance. It's kind of an interesting setup. Not often you see that, but that
yeah.
might be a little bit of the gas tank thing I was talking about.
Plus 112. That's my bad. Plus 112 for the fight to go the distance.
Yeah, and
Over 1.5 is minus 205.
yeah. So a little bit of length, but not quite. It's minus 138 to start round 3. So man, are we looking at a round 3? I might play Naimov round 3 based on that line split and that line movement. A good count call out by Elijah there.
Yeah, so round 3, just any finish in round 3, 13 to
Yeah.
1 on FanDuel.
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
so that's either guy?
No, that's Naimov.
Oh, okay. Nice. That's
Lima to win in round 3, 16 to 1. So,
Hmm.
yeah, pretty solid. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much of a take on this one. I'm going to look into it.
I thought it was interesting. Like I thought Naimov. Now Naimov's never been my favorite, but all I want to say is imagine that Lima is stepping in at 145 to face Nathaniel Wood on short notice. Is Nathaniel Wood going to be an underdog?
Right.
And that's kind of that he's to me moving up in weight. I think I really think it's interesting that I feel like Naimov might even be a little. He had that fight against Eric Silva. Silva tore his ACL a minute into the fight, so it's been a while since that Wood fight, and maybe the shine has come off him a little. So, Maddie, I'm curious what you're going to cook up in that fight because I don't have I haven't betted at all. But I found the line movement interesting for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
All right, so we'll move on to the featured prelim as well as a fight that I'm going to dub Austin's fight of the night. A couple of lightweight vets going to slug it out. I'm glad this is the featured prelim now because it deserves to be. Nasrat Haqparast taking on Jared Gordon. These guys have been around lightweight for a long time, picking up wins. Gordon just knocked out Mark Madsen at MSG in his last fight. Nasrat Haqparast turned Jamie Malarkey into a zombie. So both of these guys coming off their first knockout since the COVID break. Interesting. Who keeps it rolling in this spot? Gordon plus 205 right now on FanDuel. Haqparast minus 260. So a little bit of the VIG taken out since we pulled the slides, but still Gordon about 2-1 underdog.
Yeah, bro. I'm really rooting for Jared Gordon here. I want to see him win.
Yeah.
He just deserves it, like the gambling gods or the MMA gods need to give him a decision win after that Patty fight.
Right.
I think if it goes the distance here, I mean, Nasrat has really good volume.
Yep.
He has what? Almost 6 strikes per minute.
Yeah, they both do. They both got really good volume.
Yeah, and he has a 64% takedown defense.
Mm-hmm.
I cashed on Jared Gordon's last fight. I had the knockout prop against Mark Madsen, and that was a nice hit. It was a pretty good number too. But I think Mark Madsen obviously way chinnier. This is a tough fight. I think it's going to go the distance, and I think it's going to be very, very close. So I think the value is on, Gordon decision plus 320. I really like the play.
Yeah, I'll run the official number for you, Maddie. You're with the model on this one. I've got it 72.2% likely to go the distance, and I've only got Haqparast 55.7% likely to win it. A few anecdotal points on this one. Gordon, much more accurate, 13 percentage points better in striking accuracy. Both striking defense numbers are 90th percentile or better for the division. But the wrestling upside, I think, is a big thing here. Not because Gordon is a huge threat for ground and pound or a finish, but if you remember the Nasrat Haqparast fight against Dan Hooker, he was stuck on his back for quite a while. He didn't offer a lot to get back to his feet in that fight. And Gordon's a guy playing takedowns, nearly 2 per 15 minutes. So I feel like, Gordon is a good comment we got in chat. Gordon is 11-1 to decisions. He only has one UFC win by finish. We just saw it against Madsen.
I think be 12-0. He should be 12-0 in decisions.
He should be 12-0 because the Patty fight, didn't go his way. I've got Gordon decision here at plus 160. It's plus 320. I already had it circled Gordon by points before I even knew the number, and I wasn't surprised to see it come back at a friendly number when Gordon is such a distant underdog here. I feel like Nasrat is coming off a super high-end outcome for him. When Jamie Malarkey's chin, we know at this point, is complete dust. So I don't feel. Remember how competitive Jared Gordon was against Bobby Green? I thought he was going to get mopped, and Gordon went step for step with Bobby. So,
he was looking great in that fight until as a headbutt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking great, bro. I think Jared Gordon's a little underrated in general. Super solid.
Yeah.
He has some really solid wins, like Joe Solecki, Leonardo Santos, obviously the Mark Madsen finish. And obviously when he fights that upper tier, like he loses, like Oliveira, Grant Dawson, So I think he's a good, solid underdog here, though. I think they have to ride with him, especially if it hits the scorecards. And he's pretty durable overall. I mean, he's been finished 5 times out of 26 fights. I mean, I would say that's pretty durable overall.
Yeah, I agree. And Nazaret's a guy, minus 250 is generally a bad idea. Razor thin fight with John McDessie, razor thin with Landon Quinones, close with Rafa Garcia, not as close with Alex Munoz, but you kind of get my point. Is some of these guys not in his level, late notice, and he kind of hangs around. I feel like Gordon he's finally well recovered from that headbutt. Remember, had his fight against Jim Miller pulled because he still having concussion symptoms. I think it's been long enough. We've seen him fight again. I feel good about his durability, and I think this one, like you, Maddie's going the cards, and I'll take plus 200. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. So we'll move forth here onto the main card. This will be a short show, not because of us, but because we just had so many darn fights. Maddie, I had this one, sir, guys. So I got to get Maddie's take here.
Oh my God, this is like, to me.
Yeah.
After this fight happens, it's gonna be like, no shit. That was obviously gonna be the result.
Yes.
This fight, like, bro, when you watch the tape on Johnny Walker and you see this dude finish guys.
Yeah.
You see some of the wins he has. Like, to me, I think talent-wise, this is a no contest. Like, but Oezdemir is so sneaky.
Yep.
Like, it's such a weird fight, bro. And for it to be a near pick-up, it's really, really weird. I think I'm on the Johnny Walker side. I just think he has too many ways to win. He's now shown that he can win decisions, right? Like, he went the distance with Anthony Smith.
Yep.
He can come out and finish really anyone in the first round on a good day. When you see like guys like Paul Craig shoot and he just hammer fists the shit out of him, like, dude, like, he has crazy elbows. Like he can get submissions. Like, this dude is, when it comes to pure talent and finishing ability, he's as good as it gets in this division. But Oezdemir is just so sneaky.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a gatekeeper in a way. I don't know.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so relieved to hear you that, Maddie, if our processes are aligned, maybe it's meant to be. My model loves Johnny fucking Walker this week, which is a giant surprise to me. Yeah. But, like, I get it. I really do. I feel like we've seen a more mature version of Johnny. By the way, I rewatched maybe we watched the same fight when I heard you talking, because I watched his fight with Khalil Roundtree. The dude just elbowed him in the head from the clinch and he fell over. Like, Walker's power is next level. I think this is a guy that if 205 eventually comes up short, like, it's clear he's not going to win the title here, he could go to heavyweight and have a lot of success with his speed, with his size. Like, totally, I think Johnny's totally live for that. And I feel like we've gotten a more mature, sensible version recently. Then there's the part of my model that confused the hell out of me. I got this fight 58.6% likely to go the distance. And that's because Johnny's been going the distance quite a bit recently. And the number came in way shorter on FanDuel than I was expecting, which is almost sort of a tell for me. I saw it earlier. Now I can't bring it back up. Fight to go the distance here is plus 172. I would have expected it to be longer than that. For instance, it's longer in the co-main between Pavlovich and Volkov. Like, I like Walker. He's got a 7-inch reach advantage. Oezdemir not really a takedown threat. We've seen Johnny have issues with that, but Oezdemir doesn't really shoot whatsoever. We saw him cinch up a sub last time, but I think this is a war on the feet, and Walker's reach, I think, is unorthodox power. I don't know how I feel about the decision result, but this is a spot weirdly where I want to bet money line. If my model's telling me length, I know the knockout is there. I want to bet Johnny on the money line. I was going to bet it, but now it looks like he's actually trending toward being a short dog. And by the way, I don't care about line movement. I do not care about line movement. Don't bring it up on this show because it's wrong all the time.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. Johnny Walker by sub is 11-1. That's a crazy number. I mean, look at fucking Oezdemir's long ass neck. He's been sub twice. Look at that fucking neck, bro. Like, I mean, and do you think Oezdemir shoots takedowns in this fight?
Yeah. No, not at all. Oezdemir just 0.57 per 15, 33% accuracy. He hasn't been super efficient, and we've seen Johnny pretty dangerous with those elbows against the cage in the event he is attempting them. So I don't expect him to shoot.
Yeah, I mean Johnny Walker has some vicious submissions. You know,
Hasn't he subbed Cutelaba?
He subbed Cutelaba. What was his one before that? Cutelaba. All right, so it's been mainly like elbows and hammer fists and shit. But like, you go back to, yeah, his last choke wasn't until 2017, the one before the Cutelaba one. So he's not getting them as often as I guess we think, but he has that in his arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I think you're right. I think you just go money line here, but man, 11-1 feels like a sprinkle there, maybe.
If you like it, I think also I'm telling you, Maddie, the model is telling me take Walker by points. It's plus 420. And it's got, let's see. I've got it as most likely outcome barely over knockout. And I think like before the Anthony Smith fight, you're like, is this guy ever gonna go to a decision? He went 5 rounds with Thiago Santos. Like I think this fight could be way more boring than people are expecting. I'm going to play Walker and Walker by points here. I've trusted my model. It's on a heater, and I'm going to trust it again here in this spot.
I like it, bro. I think I like them. I think the money line's the play mainly here. And I think there's a good comment in the chat. This is going to be a 15-minute sparring match.
I definitely can see it.
Definitely possible. Definitely possible.
Oezdemir got this early reputation as like a knockout guy, but you look at his recent fights, went the distance with Krylov, went the distance with Greg, went the distance with Ankalaev, went the distance with Rakic. Really, the exception was he got KO.
It's a 1.5 line. Did you see that?
It is. Isn't it 1.5? So it's 1.5 minus 160. So FanDuel's telling us they think there's a bit of length here, not like a round one Rock'em Sock'em Robots type of fight.
Right. I think that's a solid play, even at minus 160.
Agreed.
You know, it really, because I think if you think about it, Walker gets his finishes when it's like guys shooting takedowns on him, or it hits the floor, and then there's ground and pound, or elbows, or back fists. Yep. But if this is like both guys just steady on the feet, it's definitely going 7.5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that makes a lot of sense.
That smells like a play for our parlay, maybe. Model's all in on that baby too. So why don't we bookmark that and come back to it? Quick discussion in this next fight. I'm glad Maddie and I feel so much better when Maddie's on these plays like this because I thought I was a crazy person the way I had this fight modeled. So I like Maddie's take there. Here's a one we're not going to have a lot to talk about. Still no props on this because we got this fight. Was it maybe this morning, late last night? Shara Magomedov now taking on Antonio Trocoli. This fight's minus 200 to not happen at all, but I guess we'll pay it a little bit of mind in case it does. I mean, Trocoli's been all over the place at this point. Now they're flying him to Saudi Arabia to fight a one-eyed pirate. So, Maddie, I'll give you the floor. Magomedov's minus 650 here. What do you think?
I have no fucking clue, bro. Maybe, I mean, what is there to talk about? There's no props, and he's a minus 650 favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think maybe depending on the points number, you could take Shara by decision. I don't know. Without the numbers, there's really nothing to say here.
I'm really worried for Shara in this fight now. I liked the Lutterbach matchup better, Luderbach, however it's pronounced. By the way, shout out Joelton Luderbach. I was doing steroids. I didn't know I was going to get signed to UFC. No excuses there, man. Shara's original opponent, but like Trocoli's a submission guy, and he's good. And like on the Contender Series, 3.8 takedowns per 15 minutes. We saw Shara have trouble defending takedowns and getting off his back against Bruno freaking Silva. So if Trocoli can survive the kill shot, I think this is a dangerous fight for Shara where he theoretically could get taken down and submitted. I'd be wary about the money line here. Maybe you play Shara early KO. Maybe you play Trocoli by sub to hedge it out. But like at the money line, there's no bleeping way that I'm doing this on 2 days' notice. I don't even think it's going to matter. I don't think this fight's going to happen. I'd be shocked if Trocoli, only UFC affiliated appearance at light heavyweight, now cuts to 185 to fight Magomedov on 3 days' notice. Just doesn't sound right to me.
No, I agree. I was going to just ask, like, is he really going to make 185 here? He's going to be a big guy, and if the fight does happen, he could just be the bigger guy that gets takedowns and maybe like a decision or sub prop. So I don't know, not much to really talk about on this one.
Yeah,
Though.
scares the shit out of me. That fight now scares the shit out of me is the way I'd put it. So we'll move forward to a fight that doesn't scare me because I was able to model it here. Kelvin Gastelum taking on Daniel Rodriguez at what I thought was going to be 170. We've gotten rumors this week that Gastelum's having trouble cutting weight. It, might be looking at 180, 185 for this matchup now as well. Big shocker, Kelvin Gastelum having trouble cutting weight. But I thought this fight was a little interesting on paper, Matty. D-Rod's always a guy you and I haven't been super low on. Curious what you're thinking here. Gastelum minus 245 at this point. Big old number next to Kelvin. You thinking about laying it?
No, definitely not. It's just dogger pass for me. I'm considering D-Rod just because of Gastelum's durability.
Yeah.
I'm just considering D-Rod by decision, 3-1 odds. I think that has a ton of upside. I think he's actually pissed off about. I saw his the video on him talking about like, dude, this guy can't even make 180 like a catch weight, or what was it What was the number 190?
180 was the catch weight they offered. So he says this is now going down to 185.
Yeah, so now it's up to 185. That's right, because it was at 170. He's like, dude, you can't even make 180. He knew about this 13 weeks.
Yeah,
13 weeks to prepare and cut the weight. So I'm just looking at it and I'm like, what the fuck is Gastelum? I think Gastelum's just taking income at this point. I don't think he's really fighting for a ton. D-Rod is getting up there in age. What is he? He's 37 now.
Yeah.
The Ian Gary knockout was like a head kick. I mean, I think it was just a really good shot.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, he's not really getting put away like that. That was his first KO loss.
It was
to Ian Gary. And, I mean, a guy like Neil Magny got him out of there in the third round by sub. But other than that, really durable. Hadn't been finished for fucking 7 years. He hadn't been finished before that.
Yeah.
But for 6 years before that Neil Magny fight. So he's getting up there in age, but I still think he's a professional. Like, I think he's taking the fight seriously. He's going to have a nice height and reach advantage here. Yeah. And Gastelum does take damage, so I think he doesn't get put away, but he does get hit. So I think I'm going D-Rod by decision here and take a dog shot.
Matty, we are fully on sync for this random weird card here. I got Daniel Rodriguez by decision plus 180. I've got Gastelum at just 51.6% to win overall. I think this dude's career has kind of wildly taken off to a point where he's just kind of crazy overrated. You can kind of forgive the Sean Brady loss, but there was the Chris Curtis fight, a little bit of a headbutt. Handily loses to both Bobby Whittaker and Jared Cannonier. You look at his last few wins, Ian Heinisch, an older version of Jacare that was a split decision. He knocked out Michael Bisping back in 2017. That was less than 4 wins ago. Is like when Gastelum was dropped 4 times in that Adesanya fight. I never felt like he was a middleweight, and now all of a sudden he's having trouble to get down there again. Things I love about Rodriguez, plus 2.02 striking success rate, great pace, over 7 significant strikes landed per minute, reach advantage here. I think he's got really good cardio his cardio wasn't on great display against Li Jingliang in that weird fight where he took him on like 24 hours notice. But I think it'll be better here. And that he was in shape to fight. And Gastelum, not a huge wrestling threat, which is where we saw it fall apart for him a little bit against Magny. My model has Rodriguez nearly 100% likely to win the distance striking differential here, which doesn't necessarily mean anything because you got power versus volume. But I think it's an indicative that D-Rod's going to put good volume out there. He's going to be the longer guy. I love him by decision in this fight too, Matty. And I just found I saw a plus 200 hanging out there. If you like D-Rod, I'd hop on him now if you can find the props, because I'm guessing as weigh-ins progress, this number's probably going to move his way because he's the guy that showed up in shape.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, bro. We're aligned on a lot this card, and I think I think there's a ton of good decision plays, like underdog by decision, right? Yeah. Like big favorite by decision. Like I think there's a lot of opportunities there. I'm feeling I might put in like 2 long shot decision parlays this week. Yeah. Take like 2 or 3 fighters by decision, parlay them.
Yeah. The sneaky thing, Matty, is that you look how many UFC fights are decided by decision. Let's see here. I got submission is 19.5%, knockouts 33.5%. Decisions another 47-ish% of the time. So overwhelmingly, the majority of UFC fights go to a decision. A lot of times they end up being longer outcomes because people love to bet violence. It's not always the right play from that perspective. But Maddie, we got to see if we stay aligned on the co-main and the main event, because really these are the fights this card is built around. These are the title implication type of fights. Starts with Sergey Pavlovich taking on Alexander Volkov. You and I love picking up on fighter tidbits, fighter quotes, things like that. Alexander Volkov has been playing this strategy this week where he's talking about he hasn't won a single round in sparring off his good friend Sergey Pavlovich. So I think that explains this line being where it is a little bit. I was able to model this fight, but in general, I like both of these guys a lot. So it was hard for me to decide exactly what I wanted to do here. So the floor is yours. What are you thinking in this fight?
Bro, this fight is, I think, the most interesting fight of the card just because it's just strange. It really is. Yeah. It's just, Alexander Volkov has 24 knockout wins. Is that fucking crazy?
Yes.
24 wins by knockout, bro. And, the dude is not skinny anymore. He's what's he, 6'7"? I think he's taller than that.
Yeah.
He's a tall guy, but he's also thick and solid now.
Yep.
And I'll tell you one thing. Pavlovich at minus 245 feels really strange to me.
Yeah.
It really does. When I first saw this fight, Pavlovich had this invincible guy that just puts you out every round, and then he comes out and gets knocked out by Aspinall, and now you got to wonder, he got chinned by Aspinall, and now he's coming back against a guy that has 24 knockouts, a big reach advantage, and if he just comes out reckless, I don't know, bro. I honestly don't know. This fight's very confusing to me. I have to see a lot of people talking about, it'll be a sparring match, it'll go the distance because of their relationship. Do you really think it's going the distance? I don't know. I get the mindset behind it and the thought process of putting that bet in, but I mean, Volkov has 24 knockout wins.
Yeah.
I guess that's out of 47 fights, so that's actually crazy.
Yeah.
And then Pavlovich, every win has been round one knockout.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would imagine Volkov is going to use the T kicks and try to use his length and keep him away from him, but Pavlovich is just going to come forward. So I don't know how this fight's going to play out. I just feel like that Pavlovich money line is extremely fishy to me. This dude was an invincible guy that couldn't lose one fight ago, and now he's only minus 240 here.
Yeah.
If he's not fighting John Jones or Aspinall, you would think he's minus 400 plus against everyone. So it's just a weird number to me. I mean, I know Volkov's, really, really good, so I guess that's just an indication there, but it is a weird number to me.
Yeah. So, Maddie, do you know the Volkov quotes that I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, because he said Sergey Pavlovich hits very hard. It was very difficult to work with him. I don't think I won a single round against him. After every blow, my legs were giving way. I'm wondering if this is an act or we've seen Pavlovich put everybody else's lights out, and I don't think that losing to Aspinall and getting finished by Tom is an indictment of Sergey. I think Aspinall's the best heavyweight in the world and one of the pound for pound best fighters in UFC. So Pavlovich, I feel like I was impressed in the Curtis Blades fight, especially with his takedown defense. I think there's some rumblings Volkov's going to try to wrestle in this fight. He's got the edge in the grappling department. I feel like these guys at the end of the day, they are base strikers. Volkov had that edge against Tuivasa, but Pavlovich, really good defensive, at least first line defense. Now, if he gets on his back, I guess anything is game here. Weird that Pavlovich, shorter guy by a lot, but also 4 inches of reach. He's got those gorilla arms, man. They stick right out there. He does have a really good jab as well. I am kind of torn here. My model's right about in line. I've seen all the talk about, they're friends. They're just going to spar. I have a hard time seeing Pavlovich put this dude on ice, and it's just because I think a lot of Volkov, and I think that he's really, really good. I don't know if they're going to spar, but I do think that both of these guys are going to be able to take quite a few shots. Volkov win all 5 rounds with Cyril Gahn, who, say what you want about him, is a challenge. Yeah. He's a puzzle. The Derek Lewis result for Volkov, he was seconds away from winning that fight by unanimous decision. Other than that, you look who's put him away. It was just Aspinall via sub. So I think these guys' durability is the reason why this fight might be longer. It has nothing to do with their friendship, in my opinion. I lean over 1.5 here, but I'm having a hard time at cost or the side. My model's got Pavlovich at -160, so it thinks he's a good favorite, but not like this good of a favorite to a point where I'd want to parlay him and all of that jazz. It'll be a weird fight. I've always found myself more of a fan of Volkov. I think he's a top 5 heavyweight, and doesn't get that sort of shine.
I completely agree. He's a monster, dude. Look how big this motherfucker is, bro. And he's like, at the end of the day, he's had 47 fights. Like, he's very experienced. I'll tell you one thing, just based off of merit and principle alone, Volkov by knockout at +420 to me is a great number. He has 24 knockouts in his career. He's fighting a guy who just got knocked out.
Yep.
And if Pavlovich gasses, then the TKO is right there too. There's a million ways that Volkov could win by knockout here. He could catch him coming in. He could get the ground and pound late if he's tired. Again, it's scary to bet it. Like, you don't really want to bet against Pavlovich getting knocked out. I had Tom Aspinall as the last leg of my parlay.
Me too.
On a big parlay. It was like 15 or 20 grand. Every person on social media was like, cash out, cash out, cash out.
Yeah.
I was like, no. That's one of those fights where the small favorite was the public underdog, the underdog in the view of the public, right? Like, Aspinall was like -120 or something. Yep. And I had it as my last leg, and I didn't hedge, I didn't cash out, but I was scared shitless, and it was a big parlay. And when he got hurt before he finished Pavlovich too on the feet. But I just think Volkov here. By the way, there's some comments in the chat, and I agree with a lot of them. Like, Volkov is a very sarcastic and funny guy.
Yeah.
And there was a video that came out saying, like, hey, like, don't take all this shit seriously that he's saying about like
only
what he's saying about every punch hurts me and I can't win a round. Like, I think there might be a little truth to some things, but I think at the same time, you can't take any of that seriously.
Maddie, there's so much we don't know about Pavlovich. We don't know what he looks like on his back. We don't know what he looks like extended.
We do. We've seen him getting fucking ground and pounded.
Well, that was a long time ago. That was prime Overeem at that point. And that's what I mean is that, like, I just think there's a lot of questions to lay the chalk in this fight. It's one of those co-mains where I might watch more as an entertaining viewer than a bettor. Like, someone asked us, what do we think about fight ends KO?
-320. That's the only thing. I don't like that because it's just, -320 on that.
Yeah. I've got it -265, so I'm not showing good value on that from my models.
I really believe that the number one value play on this fight is Volkov by KO, and it's scary as shit to play. But I mean, I guess you could say the same thing about his decision prop at 6-1.
Yeah.
You could make the argument either way there. Volkov by sub is 17-1.
Yeah.
So boy, I just don't think a sub, like, I think if you hurt Pavlovich, it's just gonna be a TKO. It's gonna be it's gonna be a TKO on the ground. But I'm starting to really lean towards a Volkov KO. I don't like the number on Pavlovich. It seems very strange and fishy to me.
Yeah.
I think Volkov is not a guy to take lightly here. And I think it's more opportunity and timing than anything. Like, I know that fight was it was November last year. November.
Yes, the Aspinall fight was November. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, 7 months?
Yeah.
To recover. So he should be fine. But at the same time, bro, he can gas. He can get taken down and ground and pound. There's a lot of ways Volkov could win by TKO. He's got really good length.
Yeah.
It's just something to look at. Just the number.
Yeah. I still don't know what I'm going to do in this fight. So you make great points. I still have no idea how I'm going to play that fight. Maybe I
what
stay
do you
away.
do if Volkov starches him? What do you do with him? I think he gets a fucking. He needs to get that rematch again.
Are they going to have Aspinall defend his title?
Yeah.
Well, I will say Volkov's takedown defense has improved a lot since that first Aspinall fight. It really has.
And that was just a really sick time, like a really well-timed takedown from Aspinall.
Yeah.
He waited for the strikes to come, and then he just ducked down and got a nice double leg, I think it was. And then he just went to work on the ground. Aspinall's an animal, man.
Yeah. I think to your point earlier, we had a moment, minus 230 favorite, Pavlovich by points plus 700. Boy, would that be one of those snipes. Now, my model's got it at 0%, so it's just something I wanted to run by. I mean, just Pavlovich has no decision equity on his resume anywhere, so my model can't find it. But and I think Volkov's decision losses might have aged out of here a little bit. So I still don't know what I'm gonna do with that fight, but I like your points, and I'll take them into consideration.
I'll tell you one thing: if I have a crazy long shot KO parlay, and Volkov's the last leg, it's gonna be epic.
Yeah, it would be epic. That fight is even more interesting for daily fantasy, where at least on FanDuel they're both priced up, and I think it's for good reason. Like I know a guy actually played big on under 1.5, which I don't know who under 1.5 favors. I think Volkov is equally live for a starch, given like what you said, just knocked out. Volkov is a guy that's shown a lot of power. Didn't Volkov put out Rosenstrike quick? He put out let's see.
100%.
He put out Romanov like nothing. Like
and then after that, Romanov went the distance, right?
Oh yeah, I remember he beat the brakes off Overeem as Overeem was kind of getting toward the end there.
Yeah,
boy,
I think
so underrated.
Yeah, I think you make Volkov versus Almeida.
Oh, or you give Volkov. Yeah, that could be a fight. Or you give him
fight Almeida, win or lose this fight. He could fight Almeida.
I hope Cyril Gane has to fight someone that can do a little bit of both at some point as well.
Yeah.
Like not more strikers in Paris, please. But let's move on, Maddie, so we can talk about this main event that is kind of the gambler's main event. Like strong sides on both takes of this fight that we weren't really expecting up until about 11 days ago. We thought we had Robert Whittaker working uphill against Khamzat Chimaev. Now he's a slight favorite against Ikram Aliskerov, who they plucked off last week's card to face him. Ikram is at a meteoric rise to get to where he has in UFC. He can shortcut right into the top 5 if he can somehow get past Bobby Knuckles on Saturday. Maddie, Ikram Aliskerov is without a doubt your guy. Like you've been talking about him since he made his debut. What do you think here as he enters the top 5? A guy like Whittaker on the other side. What's going through your mind as he's a short underdog?
Yeah, bro. So a couple things here. Some people are saying both sides of the trap, right? They're like, Robert Whittaker as a small favorite, that seems so free, right?
Yeah.
And then the other side of it is, I get a guy that last name ends in OV in Saudi at a small underdog. Like you can see you can see how both sides feel trappy. Like I agree with that, right? Like you can make the case either way.
Yep.
The reality of it is how high I've been on Aliskerov. Like look what Khabib just said about him. He said, when Ikram steps into the octagon, it feels like he uses 200% of his capabilities. Yeah. That's the impression I get. I've known him since childhood. I think Ikram is a future star. And we see this shit in the UFC all the time when you give guys the opportunity that maybe they don't deserve, but it's just timing. They come out and they figure it out and they find a way. And I think if you're going to take Ikram here, you go inside the distance. I think he's an absolute specimen coming forward. We know Whittaker has the takedown defense. We know he's the movement and the striking on the feet, but he's been chinned. Yes, he can be chinned. He's getting up there in age. I mean, he's not old. He's 33, but he's fought a lot of fights and battles and wars. Duplessis in a way, Ikram has that same level of physicality.
Yes,
he's a bigger, aggressive guy. Come forward. Has some wrestling. Well, he's more wrestling than DDP, but DDP was able to get a sloppy takedown on him just out of sheer strength.
Yeah.
And I think if you get Ikram on top of this dude, I think it's definitely ground and pound.
Yeah.
And I think also he can just make it a dog fight and just come forward and get a finish. Like I get the argument that the guys he's finishing in round 1 aren't high level, like Warlley Alves, but then Warlley Alves just goes 3 rounds in his last fight. With Abus Magomedov, which you can say what you want about Magomedov, but the dude has good striking and power on the feet. So I don't know. I just think, me, I was betting Aliskerov to win in 60 seconds on some of these previous fights. I'm like, this dude just comes out and kills people.
Yeah.
Phil Hawes, that 1-2, fucking forget it. Lights out. He was out before he hit the ground. So he has the submission equity, has the knockout equity. I just got to trust that this is just a prime opportunity. He's going to seize the moment in Saudi. So I just think he gets it done. And I think if you play Whittaker, you maybe play the late rounds or the decision prop.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been thinking about this one all week because it is such a monstrous leap for Ikram. I totally agree with you. I think there are better ways to back Ikram than his money line because you're throwing decision equity to a guy that's never been this outside the second round, taking on a top 5 guy, former champion in the world. I have arrived on a spot where I think my official angle in this fight is going to be Aliskerov early submission, and it's because you look through Robert Whittaker's resume of guys that he's fought that maybe could have had that sort of danger that would have taken him down. We got a good comment in chat that Robert was hip tossed by Dricus du Plessis. He was, and that's what I saw. And you look at his resume: Paulo Costa not going to submit you, Marvin Vittori not really, Izzy twice, Kelvin Gastelum, Jared Cannonier, Darren Till, Yoel twice,
But
Jacare
also the
Souza.
takedown, right? Everyone raised about his takedown defense. Look at his resume. Who's outside of Derek Brunson?
Yeah.
Who's trying to even take him down?
Yeah, I'm really
All
worried about
strikers,
I'm really
man.
worried about Rob's grappling in a situation where maybe, like you said, he is on his back. Ikram is a guy that he made it look easy on the Contender Series. Got double leg takedown into the front position into a Kimura in just about 30 seconds. The dude was a machine in that area, and like Ikram has been fighting so competition. People are like, Phil Hawes is kind of chinny. I get it. He's had these knockouts, but really his base is this same Dagestani grappling working with Khabib that we really haven't seen from him yet in an extended sample. And I think that is the most vulnerable opponent for Rob. I said this going into the du Plessis fight. Little did I know Dricus was just going to knock him out at distance there. But I love Ikram Aliskerov by submission here. It's my favorite angle in the fight. That tendency is there. 2.3 submission attempts per 15. Ikram by sub is 7-1 on FanDuel, and then if you tie it to some of these early rounds because you're a little worried of the gas tank, round 1 sub 23-1, round 2 30-1, round 3 37-1. I think that's how I'm playing Ikram in this fight because my genesis is I feel like Robert struggled a little with du Plessis' physicality. Ikram brings that. He's the best wrestling threat he's faced in a while. And look, Robert is just getting older. It's been a long time since he had a distance knockout. What was it? It was Jacare Souza, April 2017 was his last distance knockout. I don't think he's putting Aliskerov out unless it is due to exhaustion, that he's not ready to go 25 minutes on short notice. In which case, if you like Whittaker 3-4-5, I get it. Like I get that angle. It makes sense to me, but I think I prefer the submission. Those numbers are huge to me. They're huge when I think it's a vast majority of Ikram's win equity.
Yeah, I like the number. I just for some reason just think Whittaker's chin is the issue, and I just see him getting TKO'd.
Yeah.
But I do like the submission number for sure. I think I just go inside the distance here and put a decent size unit, a good amount of unit size on it.
Yeah.
I understand what everyone's saying in the chat. It's Robert Whittaker. Like, Ikram's faced bums. Like, we get all of that. We understand all of that. We're aware of all of that. Whittaker hasn't been subbed since 2011. Obviously, he's not fighting a lot of huge submission threats, but it's something to note. And it was the only time he's ever been subbed. Yeah, man, I think, this fight, in a way, this is going to sound like the stupidest thing ever, but it kind of reminds me of Topuria versus Volk.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like Volk is Robert Whittaker here, right? Like, he's going to be more technical. He's looking good until he isn't. He can maybe come out, win the first round, but it's just the forward pressure, and once he touches you and hurts you, it's just it just changes the whole fight. And I really believe that's how this fight could play out. At some point, Ikram's just going to bite down his mouth guard and just come forward and say, "This guy's more technical than me, but I'm just going to come forward, and it's not going to matter." And that's how I see the fight playing out.
Yeah, it's interesting that we're saying Ikram sub seems like a bait line. Guys, Robert Whittaker has 0 UFC submission attempts. That is a very dangerous red flag. By the way, the same one that I have noted on Arman Saryukian's profile. To me, this fight reminds me a little bit of Sean O'Malley when he was facing Petr Yan, and he had only run through bums. He had that no contest with Munoz. No one gave him a shot against Yan because Yan at that point was at the top of the world. But then it translated, and the question is, does Aliskerov translate? I don't know if he's got the cardio. This isn't a good situation for Aliskerov. He hasn't been training for this fight for a full camp, but I'm willing to take the risk to find out. And by the way, I feel like this number being this short is a vast respect to Aliskerov. Like, is anybody at all concerned that Whittaker really hasn't had any sort of submission threat, and now he's going up against a guy? By the way, we also got another. It's my Dagestani beard that makes me want to bet stuff. That's right, brother. Yes, brother. Go tap. Go sleep. He's gonna put Robert Whittaker to sleep.
I mean, look, there's a million reasons to like Whittaker here. Like there really is. I just don't give a shit. I really don't. Like even Whittaker's been training for Khamzat, and he knows how crazy of a test that was gonna be. And now he's fighting this guy, and so like I feel like he has been training to defend those submissions, and that's why I kind of like the TKO the most, because you can't really train to stop that. Like the guy just comes forward and your chin gives out. I'm telling you, I'm getting deja vu on the Volk Topuria fight.
That's a good. I think that's a good.
I have no idea why. It's kind of random, but it's just how I feel.
I think it's a good comp. I mean, like you said last one, no, Oezdemir Walker, like it's going to look so obvious in hindsight. This fight's going to look so obvious in hindsight, no matter which of those outcomes we get. It's just going to be a matter of which. But we will move on. Both of us like Ikram. We certainly lean that direction, supporting him in different ways. But I think he's the real deal. And by the way, I think if he wins, the Khamzat rematch of his only pro loss is the play, right? And then these two, I think Khamzat has been out of the way.
Bro, damn well the UFC wants to make that fight.
Absolutely, I think so too.
If Ikram comes out and finishes Robert Whittaker, that Aliskerov versus Khamzat fight, in wherever part of the world that Khamzat can fight at.
Probably
that's a main event to a pay-per-view, and it's a title. It's a title eliminator. And I just feel like the UFC is setting that up right now.
Yeah, I do too, especially since there's some noise. We've got Duplessis, Izzy, and then Sean Strickland's going to be next for the winner, right? So they've got a while with the Ikrams and Khamzats in this division, and like I feel silly writing off Rob Whittaker, but man, I've got some question marks. But Maddie, let's move on here because the fine folks, thank you guys again for joining us at our new time here. I appreciate Maddie as well for moving this for me as well. We need to cook a parlay, both a safe one and maybe a more conservative, fun, long shot one. We can also talk a little bit of PFL before we close up here. Maddie, for our safe parlay, I think we were one leg short the last one. Let me double check here. It's been 2 weeks, so I appreciate your patience on this. If I had it off the top of my mind, it would have gone easier. Let's take a look. Oh, that's right. It was a disaster thanks to Eduardo Maura. I remember that now. Thank you for bringing back those awful memories, checking the parlay. But we'll try to get back on track. We've hit a couple in the last 8 weeks, so we'll try to get in here.
Let's go Fakhretdinov money line on the safe play.
I've got way more than I should on it. Why not add another little bit? I agree. Let's go Fakhretdinov money line as well. What do you think about Walker Oezdemir over 1.5 minus 160?
Yeah, it's gonna be scary, but I like it. I like it a lot. The 1.5 number in that fight, when I don't think there's gonna be takedowns. Yeah, and I think both guys are gonna be a little bit measured here.
Agreed.
I think makes sense. So let's throw that in there, and then let's find like one more leg here.
Yep, we're probably one leg away. Let's see where else we might be aligned.
What about the Mr. Perfect fight?
What do you think?
Gafarov,
that fight goes the distance.
Minus 156. That's it. There's the 3 legs.
Yeah, that's plus 237. Plus 237.
That's hitting, bro. I like that a lot.
Okay, I really do like that as well. That's Kang Gafarov. Let's see. Man, I don't know. I'm a little scared of the submission danger there, bro. For Kang, I was gonna auto bet Kang sub in that spot, but
we can remove it.
Okay. Let's maybe go a little bit spicier because we're plus 105 right now. We try to get in that 400 to 500.
I mean, do you just want to throw Kang money line in there at plus 134?
No, because I'm afraid he gets robbed by the Saudis.
Scared money don't make money, bro.
That's right.
Or we go Jared Gordon money line. I don't know. That's plus 205. Oh, we go D-Rod plus 194. Let's throw that in there.
That's plus 505 on the button, dude. I really like Daniel Rodriguez this week. I really like it a lot. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Not
So
our safest of safe parlays, but I like it.
no, yeah. I wish there was like a more concern. I wish
Calvin Gastelum ain't winning, bro. It's karma. Like he's not taking it serious.
Yeah.
Even if he wins on the scorecards, they're gonna give it to D-Rod here. I can feel it.
Okay.
I really can feel it.
Okay. So our let me see if I can type this in chat for everybody here. And
I might be able to.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay, so we are going with Renat money line. We are going with Daniel Rodriguez money line.
What's the number? Plus 520?
Plus 505. Plus 505.
Plus 505.
And then we are going with Walker Oezdemir over 1.5. All of these, by the way, model approved.
What was the second one?
I got it in chat, Maddie. Here, 1 second.
Oh, you already got it. All right.
Yep.
I'm struggling.
All right, so safe parlay, Renat money line, Daniel Rodriguez money line, and then Walker Oezdemir over 1.5. You add it all together, that'd be plus 505 that we can throw up there. I really like that one. I love Daniel Rodriguez as a dog this week. So now the fun one, Maddie. What are you going?
I have a crazy one. I want to get your opinion on.
Okay.
And it's submission, so you're not gonna like it.
Okay.
Actually, you might really like this. 2 legs here. 2 fighters to win by submission.
Okay.
Why is FanDuel not? Why does it not auto-populate a parlay? Just goes right to straight bets when I put 2 in.
We said we like decisions in this one, bro. Should we do a decision parlay?
I mean, I'm down, but hear me out on this.
Okay.
Fakhretdinov by sub plus 460.
Really like that one. Really like that one.
And if you want Aliskerov by sub plus 700. You know what's crazy is that reminds me of the 46K leg I hit. It was 2 legs. Hold on, I want to pull this one up. So it was 1,000 to win 46,000. It was Cesar Almeida by KO over Dylan Bootka, and then it was Gene Matsumoto by sub. It was 2 legs. Leg 1 was plus 475. Leg 2 is plus 700. This is like almost identical. It's plus 460 and plus 700.
I'm down, bro. Those are my 2 favorite sub props on the card. Plus 43.80, so about 43 to 1. That's pay. I like that.
Is there any other sub props you'd like outside of the Aliskerov one? Just because I really like the inside the distance there. But is there anything else on the card that you like submission wise? Because I don't really see much else, honestly.
What
about your guy, Mr. Perfect?
I was gonna say that's the third submission leg that I had in mind was Kang's submission plus 600. Oh my god, it pays 312 to 1.
No, I was gonna say in place of Aliskerov.
Oh no, I like Ikram better. I like Ikram better.
So hear me out on this. This would be crazy.
Yeah.
What if we go Ikram inside the distance?
Okay.
We go Mr. Perfect by sub, and we go
Renat inside the distance.
Renat by sub. I don't like his KO prop.
Okay.
What does that pay? Because that's
spicy, man.
That's got to be like 150 to 1. Easy.
Yeah, what is Aliskerov by so he's plus 165 KO sub. It is plus it's 102.
Let's just take his money line. Plus 120.
What? No, I mean I don't think he's got decision equity. So how about this?
If he wrestles a lot and gets like, I just don't want the last leg on a plus 45 difference to be the reason, you know. I don't see him winning the decision either, but
87 to 1. Kang by submission, Renat by submission, Aliskerov money line.
That's 1,000 to win 87,000. I might go put that in.
Yeah, Kang. So let me put this one in. I agree with it as well. Did we have Renat though in our first one? So we're kind of overlapping.
We're exposed on Renat.
Yeah, we both love
it though. We both love him there.
Yeah, that one's okay. It's Ikram that I think I wouldn't want to be doubled up in exposure against Whittaker.
We have Ikram twice.
Yes, so Ikram money line was in
kill Ikram off the crazy part. Let's just go 2 leg submission.
Kang and Fakhretdinov.
What does that pay?
It pays, let's see, 38 to 1.
Bro, that's fucking money. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I like that a lot too. All right, so we'll do Kang submission and Renat sub. If we do that as both of those, it's plus 38.20 on FanDuel, 38-1. I think it's hidden.
That's money, bro.
Shit's hidden.
100%. I like it.
All right. Okay, Maddie. So now with that we got a little bit here. Did you want to tell the fine folks something about Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, which you are going to be at this weekend?
Yeah, tomorrow night I'm going live. I'm hammering Brian Doron. Did I say his name right?
I think so.
I just think he's a star, bro. He's minus 180 right now.
Yeah.
I think he's a star, future star. The dude's he gives you that Mike Perry, like, I'm built for bare knuckle type of vibes. Like, I really believe he's one of the next faces of this sport. And I just think, I've talked to a lot of guys that study BKFC, and they're telling me he's knocking this dude out. So I'm going to trust it. I'm going to probably put a big bet in on him since I'm watching it live. I mean, look at this dude, bro. Let me show you a picture for anyone that's watching. I mean, dude, he's just crazy, bro. There's a camera. I don't know if you can see that. You probably can't see that very well. But he's just check him out on Instagram. It's Brian Duran, Duran.
Yeah.
Minus 185, I think he is right now on FanDuel or Hard Rock. I gotta look. But yeah, I'm hammering him, bro. If you can find a KO prop on him, then go for it. But I can't find that shit anywhere on BKFC right now.
I don't have a book yet that has given me anything on BKFC, which is really unfortunate. Here in Denver, yeah. So I'm still looking. Every time we talk about it, I can watch it, but I can't find a book. PFL, Maddie, you have any PFL stuff?
I was gonna say the people really want a decision parlay. I'm down to
okay, so I threw mine in. I don't know if Brad's with us to put it up there. I threw Pavlovich, Walker, and Gordon by decision, which is like just zany, but couple of decisions.
I'm in on Walker and Gordon. I'm 100% on that. Jared Gordon by points plus 320.
That's gonna pay a boatload, dude.
And
those two together.
You know what I like better though is Jared Gordon by points, D-Rod by points.
Yeah.
That's plus 320 and plus 300 legs.
How about we make the official all? Are you willing to throw Johnny in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If we make the official all three of them, it is going to be just a bananas big number because they're all at least plus 300. It pays 86-1. Walker, Gordon, Rodriguez by points. That's the official one. We'll take Pavlovich out. We'll throw D-Rod in. I think that's probably a smarter decision there, just in case we have weirdness going on at light heavyweight. By the way, light heavyweight, lowest decision rate of any division. It's the highest finishing rate in UFC. So a good little stat to send you guys out on. These people want PFL plays. This is a good advertisement for the Home of Fight Discord. I put my entire PFL card out there last night so you could hit it before some of these lines moved. But some favorites that I like and I parlayed so far: Antonio Carlos Jr., Impa Kasangane. I think he's the pound-for-pound best guy in PFL. I like Michael Dufort a lot, taking on I forget who he's taking on, but he was taking on the guy that lost to, I think he's Piccolotto, I want to say. Whoever it is, it's not very good. And then as well as Robert Wilkinson's another one that I like. Tough card for underdogs. Remember, PFL second round, you have the high seeds against the low seeds, so it's tough to go for underdogs in this one. But I like Solomon Renfro plus 150. I think he's a younger, more dynamic guy. Decently tough competition with Bellator, just hasn't gone his way. He's had a couple of decision looks. I like Renfro a lot. And then Tom Breese and then Mads Burnell in the main event, I think, are worth a sprinkle as well, plus 170, plus 240. So those are some PFL picks that I really like for this Saturday's card. Let me double check who Dufort's fighting. It may not be Piccolotti. I why do I not remember who he's fighting? Probably because it's PFL. You got anyone you like on PFL, Matty?
I haven't even looked, to be real with you, bro. Usually when I bet PFL, I look at the card an hour before. I put like 5 bets in, and I win almost every bet. And I don't put them out to anybody. The last card, I won the first 4 bets I put in on PFL.
Yeah.
And dude, that Dakota, what's her name? Dakota
Ditcheva, dude.
Oh my God, I hammered her KO prop. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
That girl, I think she beats anyone in the UFC. Like if it stays on the feet, she beats anyone.
Dude, I wouldn't go there. I mean, she's been fighting absolute cans in PFL.
Bro, but when you look at the eye test and look at the length and the power she hits,
Yeah.
it gives me like the Amanda Nunes vibes of like not the style, but just like she hits like a man.
Yeah.
Like the power, you know. I'm
But
telling you.
That my biggest bet in MMA this year may not be in UFC. It might be in PFL. If you give me Tyler Santos as an underdog, Gadzhiyasulov, because she's going to sub her inside of 2, bro. Tyler Santos is her. Tyler Santos is I think Gadzhiyasulov crazy overrated at this point. But we'll see. I mean, we haven't really seen anyone be able to take the power to grapple her at all. She's more of a Muay Thai base. I don't know. Yeah, right. But by the way, I'm just anti -270 Clay Collard. It's not really a huge indictment. I do like Dufort, who ended up subbing Burnell in his last fight. Yeah, he is taking on Piccolotti. It is Dufort. He's now up to -162. Carl Albrechtson's fine as well. He's taking on Andrew Sanchez. You remember Andrew Sanchez from UFC, Matty? Yeah. That dude's dust. I'm done with him. I think Albrechtson's another good favorite on the PFL card too. So Oh, Tom Breese is shortened a lot. That's that Sadabu C. I think he's fighting I want to say light heavyweight this season, which is just ridiculous. The dude was a welterweight in his prime. It's a little like what they did with Thiago last week, but
right.
I mean, she's a weapon, and she's a beautiful weapon on Dakota Ditcheva. So there's a decent final take to go out on. We appreciate you guys being with us. Again, new time just happened to work better for me. Again, I appreciate Maddie and the boss and all the fine folks working behind the scenes here. You can follow him on social media at Mattybetts with 2 S's, Mattybetts with 2 S's. Maddie card's coming out tomorrow night usually, and then the long shots.
Yeah, the card Saturday's early, right?
It is. It is
really early. So yeah, I'm gonna try to put that out by tomorrow night at the latest.
Yeah, Renfro, I'm putting in chat again. Renfro is my favorite underdog. He's the only one I have a semblance of confidence in with PFL. But my stuff will publish tomorrow, FanDuel.com/research/UFC. That'll be my full written breakdown. I'll have a full pod there, but I appreciate you guys tuning in. And then my card, all my plays as well, Home of Fight Discord. I think it's a place to be. We have a lot of good general discussion about like upcoming fights and things like that in there. So join all that stuff. Support Home of Fight. Maddie's probably headed to the Hard Rock tables if I had to take any sort of guess, because that's kind of just what Maddie does. I'm probably headed to a Fortnite lobby near you or something like that after I'm done here. And not nearly as fun, but I appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back next week. I think we got UFC 303 next week, I want to say, right, Maddie?
Yeah, so I'm going to be in Vegas for that.
Yeah.
Dude, we're streaming the podcast live with the UFC. It's going to be crazy.
That is going to be so sick. That'll be the Show Me the Money podcast on, you guys record on Wednesdays, right?
So we're going to be recording that one on Friday at the what's it at? Is that a team? Where's UFC Fight Pass there on
Friday? Where's Fight Pass on Friday? For Fight Week? Yeah. I don't know for Fight Week where the convention is.
Wherever the fight, the UFC Fight Pass is literally like producing it and recording it.
So cool. International Fight Week. We're going to talk Yuri Prochazka, Alex Pereira too. Kind of an interesting fight that they pulled together last minute. Going to be a ball. But thanks, guys, so much for joining us. Our 90 minutes is up. We hope all of your bets win this weekend. A lot of smart folks in chat participating. Couldn't do this without you guys. Take care. Hit your bets. Maddie and I will see you again next Thursday.
Yes, sir.